knuckle up anytime, any place. Meet me in the trail, it's going down. Meet me in the mall, it's going down. Meet me in the club, it's going down. Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down. Meet me in the trail, it's going down. Meet me in the mall, it's going down. Meet me in the club, it's going down. Anywhere you meet me.
Hey guys, this is From Steph to You, bringing you my UFC Fight Night 74 fantasy picks predictions. Sorry I haven't been on as much. Like I said, it's been really busy, but I didn't want to put this video out for you guys. We'll be coming out with videos for every UFC event, but I think I'm going to probably stop the recap videos as I just don't have as enough time anymore. But anyway, let's get started. It's a pretty good card, and we got a lot of fights there, a lot of fantasy options here. A lot of guys that can get you a lot of points. So let's get started. First up in the light heavyweight division, we have Misha Kountermove and Daniel Jolly. Now Daniel Jolly is a replacement fighter, coming in on short notice. He's got a record of 5-0. He's got 2 knockouts. This is his UFC debut. He does have 3 first-round finishes, but again, he's a last-minute replacement, and he's going up against a pretty big guy. Misha Kountermove, he's coming in at 9-2. He's going to cost you $11,100 on DraftKings. Countermove is a little bit more affordable. I would definitely take him on Countermove. He does have the kind of power to put somebody out. He also has a lot of submissions. He's got 3 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's coming off 4 straight first-round finishes, so keep that in mind. He is a first-round finisher. A lot of guys probably won't draft him because he's kind of an unknown to the average fan. So it's a good fantasy option, definitely. And the only downside to him is he's fought twice already this year, so that kind of, you have to kind of wonder about guys when they've already fought twice in this short of time. But I'm going to go ahead and take Misha Kountermove in this fight. And then next up in the lightweight division, we have Shane Campbell versus Elias Silva. Shane Campbell coming in 11-3, coming in 8,400 on DraftKings, 4,300 on Countermove. He's got a great stand-up game. He's a great Muay Thai fighter, kickboxer. He's been submitted once. He has 1 decision, and he's been knocked out once. But and he was knocked out in his UFC debut. But he's throwing 5.1 significant strikes per minute, 43% accuracy. He's a volume puncher. If you're looking for someone on the low end, especially for Countermove, someone that he might not necessarily get the win, but he's going to get you a lot of strikes, you might want to look at him. Elias Silva, he's coming in 11-1. He's pricey though. He's 11,000 on DraftKings, 5,300 on Countermove. He's 3-1 in the UFC. He's coming off a last-second knockout. He's got 4.2 significant strikes per minute. He's getting almost 2 takedowns per fight, and he's throwing 50% punch accuracy. I'm going to take him to win this fight, but I don't know if I would pay the 11,000 for him or the 5,300 on DraftKings. Next up in the flyweight division, we have Chris Caldes and Chris Beal. It's funny, these fighters, Caldes is 34 years old. He's coming in 2 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's 1-1 in the UFC. He's coming off a submission loss to Ray Borg. He's only throwing 2 significant strikes per minute. He has 55% accuracy on his punches, but he's not a volume puncher. Chris Beal, he's 30 years old. He's a little bit taller fighter. He's 5'8", whereas Caldes is 5'6". He's got 3 knockouts and 7 decisions. He's coming off of his first loss to Neil Siri, but he grinds out a lot of decisions. He's throwing 2.8 significant strikes per minute, but his accuracy is horrible, 33%. So I do take Chris Beal to win, but I think it'll be a decision. I don't think this will be a finish. So fantasy-wise, I wouldn't look for anything from this fight. Next up in the light heavyweight division, we have Marcos Rogerio de Lima. He's coming in at 9,900 on DraftKings, 4,500 on Countermove. He's got 10 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's got 10 first-round finishes in his career. He's throwing 4.97 significant strikes per minute, and he's got 54% striking accuracy. He can definitely end this fight quickly, no doubt about that. He's going against Nikita Krylov, who they call Al Capone. He's a former heavyweight. He's 6'3", 7 knockouts, 11 submissions. All of his wins, now remember this for fantasy, all of his wins have come via first round finish. So He's never gone to a decision, as far as a win goes. He's 3-2 in the UFC. He's fought guys like Soa Palele, St. Pro is another guy that he's fought. He's throwing 5.6 significant strikes per minute, and he has an astounding 64% striking accuracy. Now, De Lima definitely can win this fight. It's when you get to light heavy and heavyweight, one shot could always end the fight. But I would take Nikita Krylov in this one. I think he has a better chance to win, and I think also the fact that all of his finishes have been in the first round, and he can also, he shows a submission game that De Lima doesn't really show. So I would definitely take him in this one. And in the bantamweight division, we have Yves Jabouin versus Felipe Arantes. Jabouin's coming in. He's 36 years old, 20-10. He's pretty expensive on Countermove, $5,000. I would not take him for that much money, but he does have 11 knockouts and 8 decisions. So he's either going to knock you out or he's going to grind out a win. He's been finished 8 times though. He's been knocked out 5 times, submitted 3 times. He's 5-4 in the UFC. He's coming off of a big loss against Thomas Almeida. And he is throwing 3 significant strikes per minute, 41% striking accuracy. Whereas Felipe Arantes is coming in. He's the younger fighter. He's 27 years old, so he's 9 years younger. He has never been knocked out. He's 3-3-1 in the UFC. He's throwing 2.6 significant strikes per minute and 49% striking accuracy. 7 knockouts, 5 decisions. From watching tape on him, I like his striking. I think he's a very aggressive fighter. But I would go ahead and take Yves Jabouin in this one. I think that he'll end up either finishing this fight or he'll probably be on top if it's a decision, I think. And in the lightweight division, we have Stout versus Frankie Perez. Stout, a big-time UFC veteran. He's been in the UFC for 9 years. He's 31 years old. He's got 9 knockouts, 10 decisions. He's been finished 5 times, though. He's 3-5 out of his last 8 fights. He's throwing 4 significant strikes per minute. He's pretty affordable on DraftKings, 9,700. I think he definitely has the potential to win this fight. The scary thing about him, he's only throwing 28% striking accuracy, so he's only connecting on almost 25% of his strikes. Whereas Frankie Perez is coming in at 9-2. He's 26 years old, 5'11". He just lost his UFC debut to Johnny Case in a first-round knockout. But he's not throwing a lot. He's not a volume puncher. He's throwing 1.3 significant strikes per minute, 41% accuracy. I'm going to go in and take Stout in this one. I actually think he'll knock out Frankie Perez. I think he could do it. But for the price, I think, especially on DraftKings, it's a good safe bet. And in the women's strawweight division, we have Maryna Moroz and Valerie Letourneau. And Moroz she's a young buck. She's only 23 years old, coming in at 1 knockout and 5 submissions. So she's finished every fight she's been in, and they've all been in the first round. 5 of her wins have been in the first round. She's throwing 8 significant strikes per minute. So she's a big time. She goes for it. But she's very young, and she's going against Letourneau, who's fought the best of the best. And when I say that, I do mean that. She's 32 years old, 4 knockouts, 1 submission. She's fought Claudia Gadelha, she's fought Sarah Kaufman, and she's fought Alexis Davis. She lost the split decision to Claudia Gadelha, and we just saw how good she was just a few weeks ago at the Rousey fight. That she's probably top 2 in that division, and this girl went and lost a split decision to her. So she's throwing 4.7 significant strikes per minute. She's won her last 3 fights. She's 2-0 in the UFC. I definitely think that this could kind of be an underdog pick. 8,900 on DraftKings and 4,300 on Countermove. I don't think that you could go wrong. Again, Moroz is a great talent. She's a finisher, but she's really young. And this girl, Létourneau, she's been in there with the best of the best. So as for an underdog pick, I would definitely go with Valerie Letourneau in this one. And in the lightweight division, we have Aubin-Mercier versus Tony Sims. And let me tell you guys, I am high on Tony Sims because I called him a few events back, and he delivered. I called a first-round knockout. I was off a little bit. Was it a first-round? It was a second-round knockout, but he delivered. He was rattled and came back and knocked out, and that was at welterweight. He knocked out Steve Montgomery, who was like a 6'3" welterweight, and Tony Sims put fist to face and knocked him out. Aubin-Mercier is coming in at 6-1. All of his wins have been through submission. He's 2-1 in the UFC. He's throwing 3.5 significant strikes per minute with 50% striking accuracy. Whereas Tony Sims, he's coming in. He's 29 years old. He's the older fighter, and this is my shot of the night. I think Tony Sims just not getting any respect here. He's 29 years old. Like I said, he's got 10 knockouts, 2 decisions, with 8 first-round finishes. He's coming off that knockout of Steve Montgomery, and he's won his last 4 fights. And he's also coming down in weight from welterweight. I think that Mercier is going to probably try to get this to the ground, but Tony Sims does have great wrestling, and I'm telling you, when he puts his fist in your face, you're going to go down. He's throwing 3.6 significant strikes per minute and 52% striking accuracy. I really like Tony Sims in this fight, and again, this is my shot of the night, and it's an underdog pick. I think this, no matter what platform you're doing, you take Tony Sims, he's going to get you the finish. And then next up in the lightweight division, we have Chad Laprise versus Francisco Trinaldo. Chad Laprise is coming in at 10-0. He's 5'10". He's 29 years old. He's got 4 knockouts, 5 decisions. He's 3-0 in the UFC. But all 3 fights have been decisions that he's won in the UFC. He's throwing 4.2 significant strikes per minute and 44% accuracy. Trinaldo's coming in. He's an older fighter. He's 36 years old. He's really expensive on Countermove at $5,000. But I would not take him there. It's weird. They're opposite. Chad Laprise is $10,700 on DraftKings, and Trinaldo is an $8,700 fighter. But on Countermove, it's Trinaldo's that's the more expensive fighter. He's got 5 knockouts, 5 submissions, so he does have the higher finishing rate. But he's 36 years old. He's on a 3-fight win streak, and he's throwing 2.7 significant strikes per minute. I like Chad Laprise to win this fight. I think that he'll get a decision. But if you want to go with Trinaldo, I would take him on DraftKings only because $8,700, he could finish, and it could be, so he'd be a fantasy flyer for this one. Next up in the welterweight division, we have Patrick Côté versus Josh Burkman. Patrick Côté, these guys are both veteran fighters, but Côté is 35 years old. He's coming in at 9,400 on DraftKings, 4,700 on Countermove, 8 knockouts, 3 submissions, 9 decisions. He's been finished 4 times, and he's throwing 2.4 significant strikes per minute and 47% striking accuracy. Josh Burkman coming in at 27-11, 4,900 on Countermove, 10,000 on DraftKings. So he's the favorite, Josh Burkman, but he's got 7 knockouts, 10 submissions, 10 decisions. He's never been knocked out. That's one thing. I think if Côté wins this, it'll probably be a submission. But Burkman's 2-2 and 1 in his last 5 fights, throwing 2.4 significant strikes per minute and 42% striking accuracy. I actually like Patrick Côté in this one. I think it's a submission. But for fantasy reasons, I would just kind of stay away from this one. But if you're going to take someone, I would take Patrick Côté. And then in the welterweight division, the co-main event here, we have Magny and Erick Silva. Magny's coming off just a few weeks ago fighting Demian Maia, which he was submitted. I mean, it was just very clear that Maia wanted to get the fight to the ground, and Magny could do really nothing about it. I think this was a really horrible fight for Magny because it was very evident with the Demian Maia fight that if you want to take him to the ground and hold him there, he's not going to be able to get up. He has no ground game to really, get off of his back. Even though he did defend a lot of Maia's submissions, he wasn't able to get to the fight to the feet at all. And again, he's coming off of 3 weeks since his last fight. He's 7-1 in his last 8 fights. He's throwing 3.6 significant strikes per minute and 46% striking accuracy with almost 3 takedowns per fight. And he does have 5 knockouts. But again, here's the thing about him. Besides for him not being able to keep fighters off of him, all of his 3 of his losses have become via submission. Excuse me. So he's been submitted 3 times, and it's shown that he's not that he is susceptible to being submitted. Erick Silva, he's coming in at 18-5. He's one of the best welterweights in my opinion. He's got 2 knockouts, 2 knockout losses and 2 decision losses, but he's got 11 submissions and 4 knockouts. So he is definitely the threat to win this, I think, because he can submit you from his back, he can submit you from the top, and if he can do what Maia did, which I'm sure he can, I think that he'll probably end up submitting Magny. He just come off of a submission win over Josh Koscheck. He's got 2.4 submission attempts per fight, 2.6 significant strikes per minute, and 54% striking accuracy. Erick Silva is a lock for this fight as far as I'm concerned. And the other thing about Erick Silva to keep in mind, people, is that he's got 11 first-round finishes. So definitely think that he'll come out and put Magny away fairly soon. And in the main event, we have a featherweight fight between Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira. This is a really hard fight to pick, especially for fantasy-wise, because both these guys are tough to finish. Max Holloway's coming; he's 23 years old. You know, the Hawaiian guy is 5'11", 5 knockouts, 6 decisions. He's been submitted once, and he has 2 decision losses. He did go a few years ago. He went 3 rounds with Conor McGregor and did not get knocked out. He's throwing 5.6 significant strikes per minute, and he's on a 6-fight win streak. Charles Oliveira, he's 25 years old, 5'11", so they're about the same size. 6 knockouts, 12 submissions. He's won 3 out of his last 4. He's got 2.2 takedowns per fight, 2.8 significant submission attempts, 50% striking accuracy, and 3.2 significant strikes per minute as a fighter. I think if I had to pick this fight, I would say Charles Oliveira, because I think he can win the fight in more places than Holloway. I think that if he wins, it'll probably be a submission, because Holloway, I think that's where he's more susceptible, is being submitted and on the ground. But if it stays standing, I would take Holloway. But these guys are pretty evenly priced on Countermove. I wouldn't take anybody on Countermove from this fight. But if you're looking for a fantasy flyer, especially on DraftKings, look at Charles Oliveira at 8,800. So I would definitely take him in this fight. Well, anyway, guys, that pretty much does it. I'm glad and I appreciate all the support and all the guys asking me about my videos. And like I said, I wish I had more time to do them. It is a long process with my notes and all the research, looking at different fights and doing my homework on the fighters. But I love doing it for you guys, and hopefully you guys can make some money. And I'll be putting out some more stuff. Also be doing some political stuff coming up soon. Yeah, guys, this is from Steph to you, and you guys have a good one.
I'm in that hot thing, gutter lane, dipping with that wood grain. So fucking hood, man, they call me the boogie man. In that slow lane, what is your whole name? I forgot his whole name. I'll call her Lois Lane. Up on that boulevard, 24s rotate. Ice Cube coming through.